Hey, Rob here. Welcome to XD Live, where every week or so, actually probably less than a week, I try out a new game on the GPDXD. Today it's Saturn Emulation, which was a request in the comments section. Boy, what a good idea. The Saturn's one of my favorite consoles. I think it's way underrated. It's got a lot of cool stuff. Unfortunately, you gotta, get it from Japan, but still, lots of great stuff for it. A very original console. That said, the controls were kind of ass, but hey, we can't have it all. So, the idea of running it on one of my favorite handhelds in the world sounded really good to me. Well, I found that Saturn Emulation on the XD is a bit of a mixed bag, but I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you what the results are. I am using UOYabuse. There's also another Sega Saturn emulator on the Google Play Store. They both have about the same performance characteristics, however, so you can expect the same frame rates out of both and about the same performance because they use the same guts. All right. First thing you got to do is download it, of course, off of Google Play. I think you can figure that one out if you're watching this video. The other thing you need to go do is get on the main menu, which is a mess half the time. So if you have a problem with the main menu, just go back and run the thing again. Anyway, you want to go into settings. Select game directory is the first thing. I've got mine on an SD card. All right, there will be a preset one here. You're going to want to hit that delete. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to delete this, but I do want to show you one thing. Yeah, this is the default. This is the default folder for everything. You could store your ROMs there if you'd like. I'm sorry, your ISOs there or your bins there. I get a lot of crap for saying the wrong thing on that. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to hit this. Boop, back, back, back. And now you're going to do a very Linuxy thing. Go to MNT, that means mount. Those are the mount points on your Android device, much like Linux. In my case, I wanted to go to the external SD, and that's where my ROMs are stored. So that's where you go on an external SD card. If you got a ROM directory, obviously you would go back here and select the local SD card, which just says SD. All right, so you've selected that. Also, you might want to note that you can add a Saturn BIOS to it, an original one that goes into its own directory. If you try to share it, in other words, plugging in your USB device and plugging this in as a USB device and trying to browse there to your computer, you won't be able to get to that directory. So you might want to note that. It's off of the root. It's in Yabuse folder. Here, I can show you real quick. It's not. Here's the problem. Sometimes this doesn't come back right, but I'm going to just go ahead and show you exactly where that is so you know where it is. It doesn't really matter, though. Performance-wise, I haven't noticed much of a performance difference using real Saturn ROMs, but I figured I'd show you it anyway. All right, so anyway, here's the root of the SD card. Go into the Yabuse. Where are you? Goodness. Yabuse folder. BIOS. And that is where you can drop your Saturn BIOS files if you'd like to use them. Again, not a necessity. The regular BIOS that's built into it works just fine. But if you want that extra authenticity, let's keep going. By the way, if anybody knows how to get this menu, here's what I want it to do. The behavior I want is when I press up against the end, like right here at Age of Zombies, and I make another left press, instead of going up to the next line, what I want it to do is to go to the next screen. If anybody knows how to do that, let me know, will ya, in the comments? I'd really appreciate that. That would be very helpful. I've been trying to look it up, but it's hard to come up with a very good search phrase for that. All right, so back into Yabuse. All right, so I showed you this. Other preferences you need to go into is, all right, so anyway, you got a BIOS. That's where you set it. You can do a cartridge if you want, like an external cartridge. It doesn't matter. There's like memory additions you can do, but that's not a big deal. You always want the Dynarec. That's the faster one. Video core you want to keep on OpenGL. You want to make sure you have frame skip, especially on this. Keep original aspect ratio, no worries. Keep that. Here's another important part. By default, it doesn't choose anything, so make sure you choose the Xbox controller, which is what this shows up as. Might show up as a PlayStation controller depending on your settings. And then you need to edit the key map. Click that and then set your keys, because it will not have a default setting for everything. It's not mapped correctly. So make sure you do this first before you play a game. All right. So as far as games go, like I said, you can store them anywhere. You need to share that directory. Not share that directory, but you need to fill that directory with your ROMs, ISOs, bins, queues, whatever. Bins and queues, whatever. Anyway, these are all bins and queues, by the way. And then they show up in the menu. See, there's like a lot of weird stuff like this going on in this game. And see, now it's probably going to lock up. No, it didn't. Thank goodness. Annoying. Anyway. This is a bug that shows up on this system. See, and it's... Come on. All right. Let's try a couple games on here. Yeah. Crashed. Get used to that. I hear that this particular bug showed up in the most recent version. However, I got to tell you, I have tried it on an older version and it did the same thing for me. So, I don't know. Little Castlevania action here. As always, I have to give you the warning, please do not download any games that you don't own. That said, the Saturn's been dead for years. I don't think they're making any money off these games anymore. But if you can buy them on a newer system, go ahead, feel free, and then you can feel better about downloading them. Funny story, Castlevania has never been one of my favorite games. I like it. I'm not saying it's a hateful game that needs to die or anything. It's just not my thing. Thought I remapped this. I did. Oh, come on. Come on. This menu is like just really sticky emulated. I hit start. And I will take the fighter. I know I've mentioned it before, but I really hate cut screens with a passion. I'm a big fan of get on with it. Alright, so here we go. And as you can see, it's a little bit slow and choppy. By a little bit, I mean quite a bit. And this is a 2D game. Die. Arroo. Alright, so enough of this madness. It is the back button here to exit. Gateway Technical College. Ooh, they're localized. Note again that I paid for this thing. This should be cleared off. I shouldn't get these stinking advertisements. Next, we'll try Bulk Slash. One of the most expensive games for the Sega Saturn. Clocking in at over $100 to purchase on eBay right now. That's redonkulous, in my opinion. I've lost one of my little plastic buttons. I'm going to have to go looking for that right up on the corner here. It drives me crazy. I'm like, I'm nuts about that stuff. I hate having imperfections. And, like, that's, ugh. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Terrible. To the folks viewing this live this morning, a big hello. And I'm sorry if I don't watch the chat stream too much. I get really, really distracted and get into side conversations, and it looks ridiculous later on the recordings. All right, so let's take a look here. Yeah, so you can see. Here, wait. Transform. And I should be able to pull up. There we go. And as you can see, it's kind of laggy. Now I've tried a number of settings to try and get it a little bit better, but no. Why is it pulling to the right now? There we go. Alright, so I think we've seen enough of that. Let's go with some classic Daytona. At least it stays out of your way while you're playing, I guess. No thank you. I've already donated. You ignored it. See here, it's getting ready to crash again. Son of a... We'll do Daytona. Another classic. I love racing games. Daytona, when I saw it, it was first at... Oh, where was I? I was at Toys R Us, and I was a kid. The Saturn came out when I was young. And I was like, dang, that's amazing. I just could not believe how good that game looked. Now I look at it, I'm like, geez, But it was great. By the way, don't these menus look like something some kid hacked up in the basement? Not real good. Start your engines. Two, one, go! So anyway, it's frame skipping. So what it's kind of all over the place. The controls are kind of rough. So, it's close. It's very close to playable, but it's just not there, Let's go take a look at something. Let's try turning frame skip off. That is one thing that I didn't do, and it's possible that maybe frame skip is actually causing a problem rather than resolving it. There's precedence for that. Let's try Astel here, because I just don't see. Hello. There we go. As I recall, this crashes like right away. Like after the first level. Like right, not even after, like right at the first level. Or it doesn't play at all. Okay. Let's see. Exit. No, thank you. Switch the BIOS. I probably have the wrong BIOS, and we'll just use the built-in one. Try that again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I just had the wrong region. Can you hear this? Is this like too loud? Here, wait. Oh, goodness. No. Frame skipping is not the problem. Jesus, it's slow. Yeah. Run! In slow motion. I have dreams like this every once in a while. And there, it crashed. And no thank you, I'm not donating. Alright, so this is basically the performance you can expect out of Saturn Emulation on the GPDXD. And I will say that, no, not quite ready for prime time. I probably wouldn't waste time on it myself. However, as a bonus here, I did wonder whether it was the device itself, which is more than fast enough to emulate the Saturn, but I do know that Android, man, sometimes the optimization isn't quite there yet on Android, so I thought I would try another device just to see if it ran well, because I saw all these positive reviews on it. And I do, of course, have Nvidia Shield K1. So let's plug this in and take a look at what happens. Bring the screen up. Hopefully it won't flip on you. And we want to be in mirror mode. And that's not the right game. Get out of here. Little UOYabuse there. All right, so let's do the one we were just playing. Let's try Astel now. Sounds like I'm trying to say asshole. I agree on the 6-button comment. It's a little hard without 6 face buttons to play Saturn Emulation. That said, you know, considering the state of it, I don't. What's it matter? You know, it didn't play very well. All right, so as you can see here, turn that down a little bit. Come on. Plays absolutely fine. It's ridiculous. Ooh, but it crashed. It did crash at the same point, so there's that. But let's go take a look at bulk slash once and see how that runs. Now note, if you just walked in here, I am currently running this on the Nvidia Shield K1 Tablet. We just tested it on the XD, and I was basically trying to figure out whether the problem here was with the emulator itself, an Android thing, or with the performance of the XD. Now, I will say that while this does outperform the XD, not by a whole lot. The XD is really close, and the gap shouldn't be this wide. But I'm going to show you. This plays absolutely perfectly, no problems. So it's something. It's something with how the XD hardware supported. I'm guessing that they might have some specialized support here for Nvidia that they don't have on the XD hardware. What is it? Rock chip hardware? Or rock chip hardware was not really thought of when they created this particular emulator. Nonetheless, works pretty darn well on the Shield. Doesn't work real well on the XD. I'm thinking I'm gonna blame some optimization here as opposed to the raw power, because obviously this thing runs it runs the Sega Dreamcast just fine. So all in all, I would say Saturn wise, just avoid playing Saturn games on your GPDXD. It's not worth it. Go play the Dreamcast. It has many of the same games, and they're better anyway, and will run better. Thank you very much for watching XD Live. I'm going to be on doing a little bit of after hours stuff right after this, so hang in there if you'd like. If not, I will hopefully see you next week. Oh yeah, please thumbs up and subscribe for more.